Next in 1.5 is about telling whether something is a function, telling whether a graph is a function, and also whether its inverse is also a function. If it's both, then we're going to see something called one-to-one. If the original and the inverse are both functions, then we can call it a one-to-one function, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. First of all, we look at these four examples. These are just four that we can compare. We want to know if the original is a function. That's the vertical line test, and this is the test that we've done all along. And so we're going to answer two questions here. We're going to say, number one, is the graph a function? Number two, is its inverse a function? And like I said, in order for it to be called a one-to-one function, it's going to have to be both. Looking at this first one here, number one, is the graph a function? You can do the vertical line test, see if it only goes through at one point, no more than that. In this case, it does work. That one is a yes. It does pass the vertical line test. Number two, is the inverse a function? Now, one way we can find out if the inverse is a function is we do this thing called the horizontal line test. You could just imagine it by flipping it over, see if it do the vertical line, but the horizontal line, it cuts out a step. So we do the same kind of thing where we just kind of pass a horizontal line through and say, does it cross more than one point at any given spot? If it does cross more than that, then it's not a function. But if it just crosses one spot, then the inverse is also going to be a function. So this is yes for both of them. And so we could call number one one-to-one. For this next one here, first question, is the original a function? I would say no, because it passes through 2 points at that spot and a lot of other spots. So no, that original is not a function. However, the inverse, if we flip this over, horizontal line test, that actually would pass in this case. We don't call it a one-to-one function because it's not actually a function, but the inverse would be a function. This one down here, what you'll see is that, well, if we go vertical line, there's a couple points where it passes through. Horizontal line, there's a couple points that it passes through. So for this one, questions 1 and 2, both of those are no's because they fail the vertical and the horizontal line test. Last one here, question number 1, is the graph a function? Vertical line test looks good, that's a yes. Number 2, is the inverse a function? Well, there are a couple of spots that fails the horizontal line test, and so we're going to have to say no. The only one on this page that's considered a one-to-one function is going to be this first one right here.